Okay, so we were at Perek Vav, Pasuk Chav Daled. So after the, after the end of last week, or at least the king, whichever king it was, we don't really know, but whichever king of Aram it was, in that Perek, he was convinced not to fight the Jews. Now, either that wore off, or we're just talking about a different king, which either one is possible. So when we pick up, we hear that this time there is war, right? Despite the fact that in the last Perek we had finished with war, we are now at war again. So. Right, so now this time it's not just skirmishes like it was in the last parak, right? In the last parak you had some skirmishes where it was enough that the Jews could avoid it by just avoiding the traps that were set by Aram. That's not the case. That's not the case here anymore. Now we're talking about Now we're talking about, a real full-out war. So, Vahirav Gadol B'Shomron V'Nitzarim Ala Arayot Rosh Chamor B'Shmonim Kesef V'Rova Hakav Dvionim B'Chamisha Chasef. And they basically their plan is to starve out the Jews. So, in order to starve out the Jews, they set a siege in effect, and because of that, there's so little food that a donkey's head costs 80 silver pieces, and a quarter kav of pigeon dung costs 5 silver pieces. Right? People are eating dung. Right? The Ralbag has an interesting shot on this, that the reason they can eat dung is because of the siege, nobody can get out of the city to find food. So all the grain is there, so the birds are eating in excess of food, so there's excess of food in the dung, who knows? But the point is that they're starving to death here. Vayhi melech Yisrael over al choma v'ishat tza'aka ilav lemor Hoshia Adoni hamelech. And as it's gotten really bad, and the king is wandering around, and I think we've talked about this before, that even the evil kings of Malchut Yisrael, when there's trouble amongst the Jewish people, we find them out with the people. They're not staying in the palace. Right here, this is an evil king, and still we see him. His people are in trouble. He's out there, and he's accessible by the people. And she calls out to the king to save her. Vayomer al Yoshiech Adonai me'ayin Oshiech Hamina Goreno Mina Yaakov. And he says, look, if God can't help you, right, there's no food, so what am I supposed to do? Where am I going to get food from? Right, from the granary, from the vineyard. I mean, where am I getting food? So Vayomer laHamelech. But despite that, right, it sounds like he gets no response, right? So he whenever you have two Vayomers, right, because you have a Vayomer, he talks to her, and then Vayomer again in Pasuk Chavchet, which sounds like, she just sort of stares at him in silence, so he has to reinitiate conversation, right? Like he's expecting a response of some sort, or who knows what, or acknowledgement of his comment. He gets nothing. Or you get that in this week's Parsha also, right? That Hashem speaks twice before Moshe does, because it seems like Moshe is silent for a while before he figures out what he wants to say in the Egel. So you get that here. Vayomer laHamelech malach. Okay, what do you want? Right, I get it. Something's wrong. We're all starving, but it sounds like there's something particularly bad. So tell me what's going on. So Vayomer laHamelech malach. Vatom reisha hazot amra elai tinei et b'neich v'nochlenu hayom v'b'ni nochal machar. Look, I made a deal with this woman that today you will eat my child and tomorrow we'll eat her child. Right? That's how bad things have gotten. Hazod v'navashel b'ni v'nochleihu v'omer ela b'yom ha'acher tinei et b'neich v'nochlenu v'dachbi et b'na. So we killed, right? We cooked. It's not totally clear whether they actually killed the child or the child was dead. Right, he says, we did this, right? We did what we agreed to do. on one day, which was to kill the child, and now I came to her so that we can eat today. We can eat her child, and she said that she hid it. She hid the child. Now you get this, right? It's sort of a dystopian version of Shlomo HaMelech, right? Like Shlomo HaMelech is there seeking justice because both women want the child, right? And the real mother wants the child to live. The other one, at least, is vindictive, but was upset about her own child dying. She just wants to see the other person's child die. But now they turn to the king to resolve the dispute. And now here you get this like I said, it's just dystopian that they're turning to the king to resolve. How are they going to eat this child? Right, and it really just puts that.
This needs to be taken literally. You think this really happened, or it's a metaphor for something?
I mean, these things happen when people are starving. They do this. Again, it's not totally clear from the psukim whether the children were alive and they killed the child, or the children are dead, or at least the first child. I mean, it sounds like the children are alive. Well, look, it's not clear. Rashi says that these were dead children, right? Meaning these were corpses, right? The children had already died, and they're starving to death, right? And Rashi says, she's hiding the child so that she can eat the corpse by herself, right? It's not to save the child's life. The child's already dead. It's just that, and this we know happens, right? People are starving, they eat the corpses. The Radak raises both possibilities, right? The Radak says, no, maybe the child's alive and she has mercy on it. She doesn't want the child to be killed. But both are possibilities, right? One is more dystopian than the next, right? Saying that they're just corpses and the second mother is just greedy is bad enough, right? The other possibility that she wants to kill the child is worse. But either way, it's so bad that and he's so upset. The king is so upset that he tears his clothes, and everybody sees that beneath his clothes is sackcloth. Right? So you see that the king is really, really mourning with the people, right? Even if on the outside he's putting on a royal outside, because that's his job as king. And again, like I said, this is something we find with the Jewish kings, that even the evil kings, when the Jews are suffering, they suffer with them, right? They're not hiding away, right? He has this sackcloth on. Perhaps he's in the process of tshuva. Vayomer. So at first he says, you know what, like, I don't know what I'm going to. I mean, it's essentially like I don't know what I'm going to do if I don't kill Elisha by today. But it's not clear why, right? It's not clear if he thinks that Elisha is responsible for this famine, or he just thinks Elisha isn't davening enough for them, or he just thinks that, look, Elisha is a miracle worker, and he should do something. Or based on what we saw last week, Elisha let the soldiers go, right? Elisha let the soldiers go from Aram, so maybe he's blaming him because, it's your fault that the army isn't dead. But whatever it is, whether it's political or religious, he blames Elisha for what's going on. So he says, like, I'm going to kill him today. But it's not clear he actually means that, right? As we'll see in just a second, it's not clear that he actually intends on killing Elisha. He has some sort of he's angry. But it's not clear that he actually means that. Because the next pasuk, Elisha yoshev beveito, v'zekenim yoshvim mito, v'yishlach ish milafanav b'terem yavo, hamalach ilav, v'amar l'zekenim haritem kishalach ben amratzeh hazel asir roshi, ru'u kivo malach, zigru adelet v'chatzem oto b'adelet alokol, raglei adonav acharav. So in the meantime, Elisha prophesies, and he says He's sitting in his house, and there's a Canaan there. And before the messenger gets there, he says, that son of a murderer is that son of a murderer is coming. Just lock the door. Don't let him in. Right? Just don't let him in.
Who was the king? Was it Yehoram?
It's Yehoram. Yes, Yehoram ben Yehoash, I think.
Here it says Yehoram ben Achav because he's from Shepherds.
Oh, you're right. It's Yehoram ben Achav. Yeah. Yehoram ben.
And what's the relationship between Aram and Moab? Because they were also war against Moab, no?
They're also war versus maybe. Here we're the Ram.
Here it's Aram, but were they together with Moab against Aram, or?
Yes. No, they were with Aram against Moab. Right? Aram is turned enemy.
Oh, right. But it is Kfui Tova of Aram, no?
For sure, but also, Aram was sort of under their dominion, right? It's not like they were, I don't know if it was a warm relationship. It was, they were allied / subservient to the Jews. Odenu midaber imam v'nei malach yored elav vayomer hinei zod hara'am ed Adonai ma'achil Adonai od. And while he was speaking, the messenger comes. But what's the message? And this is where you see that it's not totally clear how angry, how not religious he is, right? And he says, "What are we supposed to do? This is from God, right?" So, on the one hand, he says, "Kill Elisha," but it's not clear. He's angry and upset and frustrated, but he does have some sort of faith in God, and he realizes that this is from God. He sort of gives up. He doesn't really know what to do, but he does realize that this is from God. So Vayomer Elisha Shimu Dvar Adonai Ko Amar Adonai Ka'it Machar Sasolet B'Shekel B'Satayim Sorim B'Shekel B'Shar Shomron. Don't worry, by tomorrow there'll be food, right? The prices will plummet, right? Everything will be cheap. Vayan hashalish asher lamelech nishan al yado et isha Elohim vayomer hinei Adonai oseru bod bashamayim hayah davar hazeh vayomer hincha roev einecha umisham lo tochel. So the messenger says, how's that going to happen? God's going to open up magic food from heaven? It's never going to happen. So Elisha says, because you don't believe, right? And this is one of Elisha's harsher moments. You'll see that there's food, but you'll die before you actually get to partake of it. You won't eat it. And then you get the famous story of the Arba, right? The Arba Anashim Mitzoraim. Right. So. Right there, so Varban Hashem Hayu Mitzarim Petach Hashar Vayom Roishal Reu Ma Nachnu Yoshvim Bo Ad Matnu. Right, they're already out of the camp, so they're like, look, why are we just sitting around and we're going to die? Now, Chazal understand this to be Gehazi and his sons, right, because they were the known Mitzarim in this at this time, right, because of the curse of Elisha. But they're just, look, this is just like, we're going to die here, we're going to die there, we might as well try something. He said, Amarnu navo yer v'rav v'yer v'matnu sham. Yeshavnu bo v'matnu. V'ata l'chu v'nipla el machanei aram v'chayenu nechem v'tenu v'matnu. We said, what? We're going to stay here, we're going to die, we're going to go to the city, we're going to die. We might as well go to Aram. If they kill us, they kill us. If they don't kill us, great. We got nothing to lose at this point. V'yikumu v'neshef. They go at nightfall. They go towards nightfall. My guess is, right, so they won't be seen, right? It gives them a little bit more chance, maybe to steal food or something like that. The Mefarshim say it's so that the miracle won't happen until the next day. Okay, fine, I don't know. But I assume on a practical level, right, it's the safest time to go. But there's nobody there. Right? They get there and there's nobody there. And then the Torah the Navi tells you the reason was it was a miracle. And Hashem had made it sound as if a huge army was coming, and they panicked, and they assumed that they'd hired multiple nations to fight against them as mercenaries. And I assume it's also night, they can't see what's going on, so they just run away, right? And they leave everything there. Now the Malbim notes that this is a bit weird, right? Why do you leave your horses, right? Why don't you take your horses? If you think you're being chased, right? It's probably better to have your horses. And so he answers that he thinks that, look, he thinks that if they leave it behind, right, they think the enemy's already there. If they leave the horses, which were prized possessions, the mercenaries will be so busy taking the booty, taking the spoils, that they'll leave them alone, right? So they just run away. Vayavo Mitzorayim Ha'ilad Ktei HaMachaneh Vayavo Oel Echad Vayachlu Vayishtu Vayisuv Misham Kesef V'Zahav V'Gadim Vayalchu Vayitminu Vayishuv Vayavo Oel Acher Vayisuv Misham Vayalchu Vayitminu. So they go and they start, just taking things. They start taking things and hiding things. But then after a few minutes, Vayomru Ishorei Lochen Anachnu Osem Hayom Hazeh Yom B'Sarahu V'Anachnu Machshim V'Chikinu Ad Or Boker Matzanu Avon V'Atal Lechuv V'Avon V'Negid Ben HaMelech. This is just not right, right? It's just not right. Like, there's a lot of food, it's a miracle, and we're not telling anybody. We need to tell the king, right? We just got to tell the king. V'Yavo V'Yikrul Shara Ir V'Gidu Lem Lemor Banu Al Machanei Aram B'Nein Shamish V'Kol Adam Kiyim Asus. So they come to the king and they scream out and they say, look, right, there's nothing there. We went there and it was totally empty. So the people of the gate tell the king, Vayakov Melech Laila Vayomer Lavadav Yidin Alochem and Asher Asu Lanu Aram Yadu Kirivim Anachnu Yatsu Min HaMachaneh Leichavei Basadeh Leimorki Yatsu Min Erevin V'Sem Chayim Elavel Navo. He said, this is just a trap. They know we're starving. They're waiting for us to run out of the city, and when we're out of the city, they'll just come and they'll take everything, right? They'll penetrate the city. Vayan Echad Me'avadav Vayomer Vayichunach HaMisham Min HaSusim HaNisharim HaShenu Shuvah Hinam Ha'amon Yisrael Asher Neshuva Hinam Kachol Amon Asher Tam V'Nishchav V'Nireh. Said, look, we got 5 horses left. That's it, right? We only have 5 horses left, but let's take one of them, and let's see, right? Because otherwise we're all going to die. So Vayichushnei Rechav Susim Vayishlach Hamlach Charim Machanei Aram Leimor Lechuru. Fine. So he sends 2 spies, 2 scouts. And they go and they just see that there's clothes thrown around. Like, clearly people were fleeing in haste. So that convinces them. The people come up, they plunder the whole place, they take food, and the price of food plummets just as they said it would. And this officer that had questioned Elisha, the king puts in charge at the gate, and he gets trampled so that he sees that there's food, but he dies just like Elisha had promised him. And the price plummeted just like Elisha had said. And when he questioned Elisha said, it'll happen, but you'll see it, but you won't eat. And that's what happens. He gets trampled in the gate. Now this is the... What?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I'm just saying the fact that they took stuff out of the tents and buried it, the money fits Gehazi because he likes money, as we learned previously, so it may make sense that it is Gehazi.
Correct. I think that's part of what they're saying, right? Is that, he clearly, right, his first reaction, eventually he comes around and says, we should save other people. But before he does that, he takes a bunch of money, right? Only later wakes up, which is, I assume, part of what drives it. Now, right, Rav Aaron Soloveitchik, do you remember this? Right, Koropkin gave this as his drasha maybe 2 years ago, I think, on Yom Ha'atzmaut, before Yom Ha'atzmaut, right? That Rav Aaron Soloveitchik liked to use this Gemara, these psukim as proof against all the people who said that Zionism couldn't be real because God would never bring Geula through people who are less than perfect. And he says, what are you talking about? Tanakh tells us that it's even Mitzrayim, right? So that was his Sikha, right? What? Oh, yeah. And I mean, I've mentioned it before. I put it in Toronto Torah before, I think. It's a relatively famous piece, but that's what he learns from me. He said the message here, clearly, is that Hashem is working the nace, and it really doesn't matter, right? He can use whatever tools he wants. There's no, there's no limitation. He's not, Hashem isn't limited by who he's going to do it. I've seen several people quote, Alex Israel quotes it, Benny Lau quotes it in his shir on this parak, that there was a poem that was written about this by an Israeli poet, Rachel, who was very opposed to this notion, right? Like, she couldn't handle this notion that there should be Geula through a Mitzorah. See if I can find it. It's and they all quote this Israeli poem. Let me see if I can find it. Rachel. Oh, here, yeah. Here, I can't even send it to you. Here, let me send you a message with it. No, that's not what I want. Why is this not? Oh, here we go. Message. Right, so this is the one, right? B'kshekvar hayamim ha'oyev ha'nora et Shomron hevi b'matzor arba matzorim la bisru b'sorak Shomron b'matzor kol haaretz kula v'veid harav minso ach ani lo ove b'sorak geula im mipi mitzorah hitavo hatahor yivaser yigal hatahor v'miyado lo timtza ligol as nivchar li linpol mitzaka matzor or Leom Bisarah Hagadol, right? She wrote this poem about how she doesn't like this, right? If I don't want Geula, if it comes from the mouth of Mitzorah, I only want it if it's perfect. So it's not just, there is this feeling that some people have, but again, Rav Aaron Soloveitchik pointed out that the fundamental message of this parak is obviously the opposite, right? Is that it's just not true. That Geula can come from wherever it comes, and it's from God in the end of the day.
It is because the Mitzrayim were just the messenger; they didn't do anything.
Exactly. Correct. And some people who think that Geula needs to be pure and perfect, like this Rachel, or many of the Haredim who made that argument against Zionism, right? They, again, it's against the simple read. That's the point of this.
Why do you think they are perfect and we are not?
Yeah, I don't know. Right. Yeah, and then, Rav Amital apparently just used to say, he said, look, I don't care if it's a full geula or not a full geula, right? He said, as I have the quote here, right, we're ready to, anu muchanim ligael gam geula she'enish lema bovad shagalut tistayem, right? Like, right, it doesn't really matter, right? At the end of the day, after, right after the Holocaust, right, you needed a geula, whatever level of geula it was. Okay. Next week, we're almost actually finished with Elisha. Elisha is almost done. Next parak is, I think, his last, two more prakim. Very few more prakim. But the stories of Elisha are almost done. Okay, anyways.
Very good.
Okay.
Forward to next week.
Okay, same. I'll talk to you later. Okay.